So today we're going to talk about homeowners coverages and how to offer those to your policyholder. When you're writing a homeowner's policy, there are a ton of questions, and just like putting together any policy, it's like putting together a puzzle. So you want to make sure all those pieces fit in place, and as you go along, you know your policyholders are going to ask those questions. So the first question is going to be, what is dwelling coverage A? Well, dwelling coverage A, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, is going to be the house and the walls. I literally think A. It is going to be your roof, your structure, your walls. If everything went up in smoke and we had to rebuild that for you, I need to know, how much do we cut the check for? There's going to be different kinds of tools that you may use. You're going to get replacement cost estimator. They're called RCEs. You can find them on a lot of the different kinds of processes that you have, different kinds of systems that you'll use. The next coverage I like to talk about is personal property. It's going to be everything you own. It's going to be bobby pins all the way to your appliances. If everything goes up in smoke, how many pairs of socks are we going to buy those kiddos? We need to know what kinds of things that we need to replace. Loss of use. Now, traditionally, personal property and loss of use is actually going to be a percentage of your dwelling coverage A. Sometimes you can adjust it, but more often than not, it's more than enough with plenty left over. Loss of use means everything went up in smoke and now you need a place to sleep. So you're sent over to the hotel. It's going to be your hotel stay, accommodations. A good example of this, I have a family member who has a few teenagers at home and there was a leak in the basement. Guess what happened? Nobody told Dad. So anyway, they end up at a hotel for over a month. That was their loss of use coverage, and they were taken care of there. Medical payments. This is something traditionally you're going to be able to choose for your customer. It could be $1,000. It could be $5,000. The fact of the matter is, if somebody comes over, and remember it's coverage F, and I think friend, you have a friend coming over. So your friend comes over, they trip on a crack, they knock their head, and now they need to go to urgent care. Medical payments is specifically designed to make sure they get the kind of care that they need right away. Liability is different because liability means someone is trying to sue you. They are not your friend. They are trying to sue you. So maybe somebody got hurt, or maybe you spoke something, that's called slander. Maybe you wrote something, that's literary, that's called libel, think library. So liability, we can always go back to Melissa, the insurance exam queen, the doggy, the liability bit me. And speaking of doggies, I can hear mine out back, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Now, when you're writing a homeowner's policy, please don't forget about the valuables. What if they have jewelry, firearms, art? You're going to want to make sure that you offer that to your policyholder. You also have the power to cover those sorts of things. Now, as you're running through your homeowners, you are going to want to keep an eye out for things like roofs, pools, animals, trampolines, solar panels, roofs. When was the roof replaced? Because nobody wants a 40-year-old roof. That's just not going to hold up. So they are going to ask, when was the roof replaced? In your application, you're going to want to know heating and cooling, plumbing, these kinds of systems. If somebody buys a 1937 house, we're not going to want the same wiring. We're going to want to make sure that has been updated, right? So insurance companies do not want to insure something that might start a fire. It's just a bad idea. I wouldn't want to do it either. Pools and trampolines. I should probably package those together. Pools and trampolines are a huge liability. People get hurt on trampolines all the time, even with the nets, and some insurance companies won't even insure it. So make sure to ask for that. What kind of toys do they have in the backyard? Swimming pools. Of course, I live in Arizona, and we all know things happen every year. It is no fun. So if it is a gated pool, that will help you. Animals, again, we're back to liability, the doggy. Animals can do damage, not just digging, not just ruining things, but, you know, actual hurting people. Solar panels. This is something that I really had to get into my mind, which is kind of ironic because I live in Arizona and they're everywhere. Solar panels. Companies are going to want to know whether or not you are leasing them or you own them. If you are leasing them, they're not yours. And remember, if they're not yours, they're not an insurable interest. If you own them, absolutely, of course, we want to make sure they're covered, because if there's a hailstorm, guess what the first thing to go is? It's going to be your solar panels. So when it comes to these little guys, you want to make sure that you are eyes open for these things, that you ask for these things. Now, if you are a wizard and you are able to whip through these systems, perfect. Hit the county assessor's office. You can totally find out a lot of information there. And in your off time, look yourself up just to become familiar with the site. You can also go on things like Zillow and Redfin. These are going to show you how many bedrooms they have. Quite possibly, you could even jump over, and I like to use Control F. Control Z is for something else. Control F is your friend. It will help you find whatever you need on that page. So if you are looking into solar panels, you can go right into Redfin, hit Control F, and type in solar. It will show you everything on that page that has solar. You can do the same thing with roofs as well. Of course, deductibles apply. So I hope this helped when you are writing a homeowner's policy. Again, we have the playbook, so we'll get it out to y'all. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe out there.